This is shuttle launch control. Countdown is still at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. Mission management team Chairman Brewster Shaw has just polled the members of his team. They just all give their thumbs up that when the weather clears, we will be ready to resume the count. We've got about 45 minutes remaining in our that we can hold today before we need to resume the count at T-minus 9 minutes. Pilot Dick Covey has been flying around the runway in the flight path that the orbiter would take should it have to make a return to the launch site. Going into runway 15, those approaches appear to be clear. The concern now would be the clouds and any moisture in the clouds in the flight path. So we'll be standing by for a report on clouds and moisture in the flight path. T-minus 9 minutes and holding. This is shuttle launch control.
NTD Houston Flight 212.
Go ahead, flight.
Yes, sir. We have a weather update we'd like to pass along to the crew, please.
Yes, sir. You may proceed.
Columbia, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Yeah, Brian, we'd like you to switch the RTLS runway to KSC 15. That'll be nominal aim point and nominal speed brake. Looking at about 31% speed brake at 3,500 feet. The reason we're doing that is the weather's sort of clearing from the northwest, and 15 is going to be fully up and go before 33 will. And we want to use the runway that's going to be go first.
Okay, Sox.
The STA's been out flying around. 15 is looking good right now. It's already clear, and he's checking out along the launch azimuth as we speak.
Yeah, we saw him go overhead. He looked great up there.
Okay.
NTD Houston Flight 212.
Go ahead, flight.
In case you didn't copy, we are changing our TLS runway to KSC 15.
We copy that.
And we believe we're very close to being in a go situation.
I copy, and CNSC NTD copy. I copy, we'll work 1001. That's the front. PLT. PLT is CNSC. Go ahead for the PLT. On panel 08. Go ahead. MLS 1, front wheel to 8. That's complete. MLS 2, thumb wheel to 8. That's complete. And MLS 3, thumb wheel to 8. That's all complete. NTD, Launch Director 212. Go ahead, Launch Director. Okay, since we're getting the feeling better about the weather, what's the posture of the team to pick up the count? Well, we're still awaiting a go from flight and SRO for weather, and still need to activate recorders. Other than that, we are sitting ready for your go. I copy. SRO NTD 212.
SRO.
Yes, sir. Are you still configured with the exception of weather to pick up the clock?
That's affirmative. Weather is the only constraint at this point.
Okay, very good.
This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. Launch team is standing by to pick up the count at the first clearance of weather in the area here at Kennedy Space Center. It does appear that the weather is clear for the return to launch site conditions. We are checking out conditions in the flight path now. The flight crew aboard the orbiter is now was just briefed by the flight controllers in Houston on the weather status at Kennedy. So we're standing by now. Got 40 minutes remaining in which we can need to pick up the count to make a launch before 10 a.m., the end of the window for today. Weather conditions seem to be improving significantly, and we are going to be conducting a poll here shortly to make sure everyone is ready to resume the count.
NTD. Okay, based on the last input from the weather aircraft, would like for you to tag up with the range and flight and see what their posture is on the weather. I copy Houston flight, NTD 212. Houston flight, NTD 212. SRO, NTD 212.
SRO.
I'd like your status for launch count.
Still waiting. Go for weather.
And what is the no-go based on?
The original no-go, clouds greater than 4,500 feet thick.
Copy.
I see the board right now. I expect to have a final go for you momentarily.
Copy. And flight NTD 212.
NTD Flight 212.
What's your status for the launch count, please?
Everything is go. We do want to hear the report of the STA on the approach to 15, and that will provide our final weather clear. At the current time, that's our only constraint. We should be there momentarily.
Copy. And flight CISL JRPS NTD 212. JRPS. ISL.
Flight.
Activate recorders, please, for step 1013. ISL, copy. JRPS, copy.
Flight Wilco.
And launch director NTD 212. Go ahead. Okay, we're still waiting a final go from SRO for the cloud thickness constraint, and flight is awaiting the final pass, the STA shooting approach runway 15. And I have directed the recorders to be activated. I copy. And I'll conduct my poll at this time while they're still taking that last look. Engineering Director, Launch Director 212.
Bob, engineering is go.
I copy. Safety and Quality Director.
Safety and quality is go, Bob.
Payload Operations Director. Payload to go, Bob. And Cape Weather.
Launch director, we have no weather or launch constraints violated. Winds for steady state winds for launch from 250 degrees at 8 knots. However, we did want to advise you we have a thunderstorm complex offshore, which we'll be watching very closely, and they're off to the northeast. There is some serious building back on that, so we'll continue to assess that and advise you if we have any changes on our constraints. Over.
Copy.
And
we'll hold off on ops manager concurrence here as soon as we hear from range and flight.
And NTD and launch director, this is flight director on 212.
NTD.
We can give you a final go for launch.
Copy.
NTD SRO.
Go ahead, SRO.
Okay, I expect to give you a final here in about 2 minutes. Waiting a couple aircraft to get to their TSP.
Are they en route to the TSP at this time?
They are en route.
And do we need to wait those 2 minutes?
I'm going to have to wait until I can get a final from range safety.
Copy. And launch director NTD. I copy, and why don't we do this? We'll tag up with ops manager here, and if he doesn't get this aircraft on site, we'll wait at 5 minutes. But meanwhile, we'll pick up the count, given we get a final concurrence from program. Ops manager, launch director on 212.
Bob, you're cleared to launch this vehicle.
Copy. Thank you, sir. Well, maybe we can fly something today other than the weather aircraft. So, NTD, you have a go to proceed. I copy. GLS, NTD.
Go ahead.
Pick up the clock on your count, please.
Copy. 3, 2, 1. Mark.
T-minus 9 minutes and counting.
Sequence has been initiated.
Ground launch sequencer has been initiated.
NTD SRO 212.
Go ahead, SRO.
Okay, I want to confirm that you will be holding at T-minus 5 if the aircraft are not at their TSP at that point.
If I don't have your final clear to launch, we will hold at T-minus 5 minutes.
Roger, copy.
Countdown may be holding at T-minus 5 minute mark, waiting for a clearance from the range safety officer.
PLT OTC, configure your fuel cell, essential bus source switches.
That's in work.
Pilot Gutierrez is now flipping switches in the orbiter's crew cabin to directly connect the 3 fuel cells to the essential power buses.
Essential buses are connected to the fuel cell.
Copy that.
Houston Flight Controllers is sending stored program commands, which are the final update on antenna management. This update ensures that the orbiter has the latest information to communicate with different ground tracking stations during the flight. T-minus 7 minutes, 30 seconds.
Orbiter access arm retract.
The orbiter access arm is being retracted away from the Columbia's crew module at this time. It can be re-extended in just a few minutes if necessary.
NTD SRO 212.
Go ahead, SRO.
At this point, we may not be able to get the aircraft at TSP in time, and suspect we may have to hold for about a minute at T-minus 5.
I copy.
GLS copies.
And GLS, we'll tag up with SRO at about 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
You have a hold pending at 5 minutes at this time.
I copy.
NTD ISL.
Go ahead, ISL.
Recorders are activated.
Copy.
T-minus 6 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. It appears we may be holding briefly at the T-minus 5 minute mark prior to starting the orbiter's auxiliary power units. The range safety officer needs some tracking aircraft on station.
Start APU and hydraulic strip chart recorders.
Recorder start.
PLT OTC, perform APU pre-start.
APU pre-start's in work.
Just past T-minus 6 minutes, and pilot Gutierrez is performing auxiliary power unit pre-start. He's configuring switches in the cockpit to put the APUs in the ready-to-start configuration.
NTD SRO 212.
Go ahead, SRO.
You have a final range clear to launch.
I copy. Launch director, you copy? I copy. And GLS, we will not hold the clock at T-minus 5 minutes.
I copy that. It's been cleared.
APU pre-start's complete.
Copy.
We do have a final clear to launch from the range safety officer and will not be holding at T-minus 5 minutes. We'll just count all the way through. T-minus 5 minutes and counting. We have a go for APU start.
APU start.
APU starts and work.
And CDR reconfigure heaters.
Roger, that's in work.
Commander O'Connor has been asked to reconfigure the orbiter's heaters for launch.
OTC, ECL.
OTC.
I can give you 1082.
Thank you.
T-minus 4 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. Ground launch sequencer has terminated liquid oxygen replenish to the external tank and is initiating LOX drain back.
And we got 3 APUs up and running, OTC.
Copy that.
OTC CDR, heaters are reconfigured.
Thank you, CDR.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting. We've got 3 good APUs and the orbiter's heaters have been reconfigured for launch. Final purge sequence of the 3 main engines is underway. The valves on the engines are being prepared for engine start. At the 1 minute point in the count, an engine ready indication will be given. A profile test of the orbiter's aero surfaces has started. The orbiter flight control surfaces are being moved through a pre-programmed pattern, and the main engines are being positioned for launch. T-minus 3 minutes and counting.
Let's go for ET LO2 pressurization.
Liquid oxygen tank is now being pressurized for flight. Just a few minutes away from the launch of Columbia on a 9-day mission with 7 crew members.
Morning memory, verify no unexpected errors.
That's in work.
Retraction of the gaseous oxygen vent hood is now underway. T-minus 2 minutes, 20 seconds and counting.
Flight crew, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow. Have a good trip.
Roger that.
T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
Caution warning, memory clear is complete.
Copy. GLS's go for ET LH2 pressurization.
Liquid hydrogen replenishment is being terminated and the hydrogen tank is being pressurized for flight. Crew has locked their visors for flight. Now less than 2 minutes away from launch.
30 seconds.
Today's launch marks the 41st launch for the shuttle program and the 3rd shuttle flight this year. We've got 3 engines ready for flight. T-minus 1 minute, 15 seconds. All systems are go for launch for Columbia's 11th space flight. T-minus 1 minute and counting. T-minus 40 seconds and counting. Coming up on the T-minus 31 second mark when we have a go for auto sequence start. T-minus 31 seconds. Columbia's 4 redundant computers have primary control of critical vehicle functions for the remainder of the count. T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9. We have a go for engine start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of Columbia on the first dedicated medical research flight.
Full program, Houston.
Roger, roll, Columbia.
Houston now controlling roll maneuvers underway. Maneuver complete. Columbia now heading in a heads-down attitude on course for a 39-degree orbit. Engines now throttling down as Columbia prepares to pass through the area of maximum dynamic pressure. Columbia now at 20,000 feet, downrange distance 1 nautical mile. Engines now throttling back up.
Columbia, go at throttle up.
Roger, go ahead.